Hello everybody, how you all doing today? Welcome to my channel for those who are new. Today we are going to discuss my very first novel, Strange Things Await. Now in a few videos I mentioned the book here and there, and I'll talk about it a little bit. But I noticed when I was scrolling through my channel content, I have not done a video just about Strange Things Await. I did one on Darkness Awaits, and I did one on Gates Bookstore. So today we are going to focus on, read my notes, just so I can make sure. I like to do everything unscripted, but I do like to have notes here and there so I can definitely remember what points I want to talk about. So this is the novel Strange Things Await, which started my author career, which is not very full-time, but still it is it's a exciting journey. Any authors out there, it is a lot of up and downs, but we love what we do. We love it. You know, no, I don't keep it over here. I was going to put it on the bookshelf, but I think I'm going to keep it right here. So that way, if I need to open up a page, I can open up a page. So, hold on just a second. So we are going to be talking about Strange Things Await, which is my very first novel I published. And I don't want to say, I was going to say 4 books, first of 4, but originally I was just saying it's going to be a trilogy and just 3 books. But when I'm currently writing the 3rd novel, so while I'm writing, I keep figuring out new ideas, and it's turning into a possible 4th book. Don't hold me to it, but I am thinking I might change my trilogy and add an additional novel. So this is the first of more books. I'll say that. The 2nd novel is already out, Darkness Awaits, so you can buy that novel as well. But this book, I'm going to read the blurb, and then I'm going to talk a little in detail about the characters, about how I started this journey, and just the magical world of the Virtuous Academy series. So the back of the blurb says, at Virtuous Academy, a boarding school for the supernatural, the students are not your average high schoolers. Though they might go through some of the same social problems, these students are powerful and many dangerous. From vampires, witches, werewolves, and werecats, these youngsters must learn how to navigate classes and other species who might on the outside of campus be a natural enemy. Virtuous Academy's walls are going to be shaken up this year as they never have before. Not only do the walls have to contend with 2 young sophomore witches, Natalie King and Alexandra, who despise each other so much they constantly wage war against the infrastructure. There's a monster on the loose killing students. Will these 2 witches, who once were best friends, rekindle that friendship in time to help each other through all that's about to hit them this year? Or will they fail to unite even after a mutual friend of theirs gets captured by the same monster killing students? Keep forgetting to leave it here. Leave it here. I had a little chat on all these social media pages are up. So the you know what? I'll do it this way. So it's out my way. 'Cause I'm right-handed, so the book was irritating me. I don't have to move it. So that's the blurb for the first novel, and it hints to the main two characters and their relationship. So I'm gonna just start off with them two because the blurb gave a very nice transition. That though there is a monster on the loose, the book is also not just about solving what's going on with the monster, but it's mainly a story about these two enemies who later, early in the book, you find out they used to be best friends. So it is a very strange relationship that I'm not going to give anything away. I know this book has been out many years, but I'll just say that there was an incident that happened in their preteens that that tore them apart. I won't say what it was. So ever since then, that incident really made Natalie, who is nicknamed in the book Nat, and Alexandra is nicknamed in the book Alex. So Nat and Alex friendship just dissolved because of that incident that ended up well, I'll say it's not that big of a deal in the book. It's the reason why they stopped being friends, but I won't say too many details. I'll just say it ended in someone dying. I'll say that. So these two witches, Natalie King, aka Nat, she is from the King Coven, an ancient coven of good magic. So they are perceived in the world of supernatural as the good guys. You know, light magic, they really frown down upon dark black magic. Not to say that the elders and others won't ever use such magic because they are powerful witches themselves. So if need be, if you nuck your buck, they will definitely do whatever is needed to protect themselves and their family. So it is a interesting dynamic of having this, you know, good pure coven, but they're so powerful and they've been around for so long. You don't get to be around that long and hold so much power without some getting your hands dirty. So Natalie has grown up with this ideal of right and wrong. She is very, in the beginning of the book, you really see her character just focus on morality and what's right and wrong, and you know, she almost sometimes sticks her nose in things saying, well, this is wrong and you have to do this because I say so, almost. And it's like, girl, you ain't security, calm down, you ain't the teacher. But I think it's mainly because, and you all, when you read it, might notice as well, she's only getting up in people's faces who are connected with Alex. So Alex is the focus of her rage many times. So even though she sees other students doing a whole bunch of stuff they're not supposed to do, she likes to make sure Alex and her group of friends know that they doing wrong and they better stop it or she gonna do something about it. So like, okay, why you that concerned about what they doing and not everybody else? But let me not talk bad about Natalie. But no, I wrote it that way because I really wanted to show that even though they are enemies, they still can't seem to, completely part ways. They find a way all the time to talk to each other, interact. They find a way somehow. And that is, I think, a testimony to how many years they were friends. They were best friends at one time. So in the second novel, you'll see a little more about their friendship when they were younger. But the first book, it shows a little scenes, some flashbacks. I like using flashbacks. And it shows that they became friends very, very young age. So Natalie, even though she didn't really understand what was going on in Alex's world, she didn't understand that Alex's coven, the Aurelius coven, are considered, well, I'm not even gonna say considered. They're evil. It's a lot of dark magic and a lot of crime and death going on that side of the town. So at a very young age, she didn't understand why their family were at odds with each other. They didn't really understand how not rare, but how unusual their friendship really was. That everything just was pitted against them. And Natalie is, from very early on, you'll see in the books and the flashbacks, she is very hopeful. She's just wearing her heart on her sleeves. She is just so friendly and caring. And when she meets Alex for the first time as a young kid, about maybe 5, 6 years old, she's just open. She doesn't care about who this strange girl is. And she doesn't care that she's so secretive and she's hiding things, and she doesn't want to talk about herself, her family, and she doesn't want her to be around her family, doesn't want her to go visit her house. And it just shows how loving and open Natalie is, which can be her downfall a lot of times. But going on towards they grew up together. They were, every summer they saw each other, and then they got closer and closer, spent more and more time together. And you'll notice that in the beginning, when you get more information in the flashbacks, you'll notice that Natalie was Alex's safe zone, and that is hard to lose. And when you don't have what I call light, Natalie is light, Alexandra is dark. Her whole world is just filled with darkness, and her only escape, her only light that was around was Natalie and her family. So losing that, I think, really was a significant additional reason, because her mom is crazy. But it was an additional reason why Alex is the way she is when we are first introduced to her. And maybe why she is very, button heads with Natalie. Because it's like, dang, you couldn't, you blaming me for the incident that happened, and you don't want to be my friend, even though you're the person that I'm trusting. You're the only, good thing in my life. So even though, well, and also they're very young, they don't know how to handle their own problems. Don't know how to really communicate very well. So when that happened, it was almost like a physical blow. It was a something that was so priceless to Alex that Nat took away, and it really caused resentment and a lot of anger, which you all can determine yourselves. But as the author, I try to portray that, and hopefully some of that emotion came across. You know, these two young ladies are not just enemies just to be enemies. And originally, in the beginning, when you're reading, you might think, oh, well, they're from different covens, different, you know, they might, their covens don't like each other. Excuse me. Their covens have a bad history. So maybe they just don't like each other just because of that. But then you read on and you find out it's much deeper than that, because they didn't care that their families were enemies. And their parents, well, their parents allowed them to be friends, but I think later on down the line in the book, and also in the second book, you'll see if those feelings were genuine, and you'll also see what was going on between the parents and what was going on behind the scenes with the different covens. So I'm not going to get into that part because you'll end up reading it for yourself. But also, okay, I started talking a lot about their relationship. Okay, focusing on Natalie. So Natalie, when we're introduced to her, she is oh my goodness, I'm trying to figure. She's 15. Yeah, because in December, her birthday's in December. And then she turned 16 during the first novel. So she turned 16. Oh, I forgot my character's age already. I might have to reread this book. Or it might just be me trying to remember everything all right away. Just hit it. Okay, so when we first introduced Natalie, she's 15 years old, and she is grieving the loss of her father, who was murdered over the summer. So this is a new semester of school. The next day is a brand new day, brand new semester, but she has to go through the trauma and the grieving process of losing her father. He was murdered. And she also has to go through the fact that she doesn't know why. They haven't found the murderer, and it's just, hopefully none of you all have been through that, but it is, it's something that's very difficult, and not everyone, based on reviews, have really understood the trauma that Natalie has gone through in the grieving process. Definitely, even if it's not from, somebody being murdered, hopefully not, but a lot of people, especially around my age, as you get older, you definitely have at some point lost a loved one, sadly, grandparent or anyone close to you. And it could even be a friend, and you have that grieving process. And I think a lot of people were a little harsh on Natalie. But she's going through a lot right now. She is really determined from the very first opening. She is trying to figure out all the answers. The why. Why was he killed? Everyone loved him. He was a nice guy. Trying to figure out why he was killed, and also who did it. So her focus, she's isolating herself. She really is just not, she's not well at the moment. And then we find out little great details here and there about her. She loves to cook. She wanted to be a cook originally, and she loves basketball. She wants to be on the basketball team. She's athletic. And she also, what else about Natalie? One of the basic things you could probably see on the cover. Right there. So Natalie is African American, and she's also bisexual. She lost her father, so she is now currently, having to also make the adjustment of, having one parent. So she is in the Mexico boarding school, so it's kind of helping to take her mind off of things, but not really. She is still trying to do research and find who killed her father. And she also is just trying to also make the best of the year, of the new semester. Let me see. I'm trying to think of all these facts I can give you all about Natalie without it taking away from the reading experience, because I want you to fall in love with Natalie and get to know her yourself. So that's all I'm going to say about Natalie for now. Let's go on to Alexandra. So Alexandra Aurelius, aka Alex, she is from the Aurelius Coven, ancient coven as well, very powerful, dark magic, and her mother is the head of the coven. So her mom, Brenda Aurelius, is head of the coven, and she is just one, I don't know if it's sociopath, psychopath, I don't know which one to call her, but she is insane. And her darkness and her thought process on the world is embedded into Alex. So Alex is really focused on, pleasing her mom. She doesn't have her dad in her life either, but he passed away many years ago. He passed away. And she is really trying to find her own way. In this novel, you'll see that she's trying to stand on her own, stand away from her mom and the psychotic behavior. She is still very loyal. She's very focused on her coven, and she's just, the only issue she really has is her mom, because her mom is really just manipulative, and she doesn't like the things that her mom makes her do, which some of the things in here are probably very hard to read about. So I definitely made sure, I ain't going into too much details on some things, but you definitely get an idea of a monster her mom is. And it is something that really impacts, I hope y'all didn't hear that ring, somebody tried to phone call me. It really impacts on who she is. And as I mentioned earlier, she had Natalie as an escape when she was younger, but she doesn't have that light anymore. She's consumed by darkness, and her coven, they're just drug filled. They have a couple of enterprises, well, mainly her mom. Her mom is very very strategic. A lot of the things that she owns that benefits the coven, she owns. So it's definitely a lot of twists and turns that go on with that family. But the influences they have on Alex really makes her powerful, but also just taints her soul, and it's really hard for her. She definitely holds on. She doesn't really want to say, but she holds on to the goodness that Nat and her family taught her and showed her. And it really made her think about what she wanted out of her own life and what's possible. And that really comes into play later on in the novel. She's starting to make some power moves of her own. So she's like, okay, if I really want to start getting out underneath of my mom, I have to be able to stand on my own, and I need power. And it goes back and forth with her, because it's like she wants to get away from her mom's evil ways, but she also understands the freedom that power gives you. And in order to get power, a lot of times you got to get your hands bloody. So Alex doesn't see things the way Nat does. She doesn't see the world in black and white. She sees the world in colors. It's a mix. You know, no one is truly, in her mind, like good and evil. She's like, look, I'm going to do whatever I need to do for my own self-preservation, for my coven, for my family, those I love. And she does it unapologetically. She doesn't apologize. And I love that about her. She wants to do the right thing, but the right thing for her and her loved ones. And no matter how she can accomplish that, it's going to get done, even if she got to kill someone. So it's like, okay, like, you were just on the good side. Like, come back over here. Reel her back in. Like, okay, let's try to find a different solution to the problem than murdering someone. So it's really funny. But she has a group of friends early on in the novel. Her group is Olivia. Well, Julian comes a little later, so I don't know. Okay, so kind of early on. Julian comes in late in the book because of the pairing, which you all, I'm hoping you all will find very interesting. But so it's Olivia, Julian, Eleanor, aka Ella, and they are the main circle of friends of hers. But there are some side characters that she's also friends with, but they are not within her main circle, her team. Those are the characters I'll talk about, because I'll talk about them a little later on. And I'm trying to look at my time. Okay. So yeah, that's some fun facts about Alex. She loves Greek mythology. Because of her coven being ancient and powerful, she's also rich, just like Natalie. Goes to the same boarding school. She's African American as well, and she's a lesbian witch. And she just badass. I'm trying to think of all these details. What was that noise? One thing about having an office in a basement, you start hearing weird noises. It's scary. All right, let's see. Okay, my notes. Always trusty notes. So, discuss main side characters. Now, that's going to be lengthy. I might need to do a part 2. All right, so I'll just run through them. They're side characters. I'm not going to talk too much about them. You all can definitely read a book. So, one main side character is Russell. He's a vampire. He's the good guy. He's just the home pie, just sweetie pie, and he is an upperclassman, but he is really into Natalie. He's like, man, I've seen you since your freshman year. I've been watching you. I like you. And he ends up coming on the scene. He ends up coming on the scene. And then we have Arnold, who is one of the most interesting side characters. Now, a whole lot of different things come about after almost every couple of chapters, you end up finding something interesting about him. So Arnold is a no, I can't call him that because then okay, I'll skip that. I'll say he becomes Natalie's friend through the pairing that goes on at school. And it is well, no, I'll tell you, the pairing is just quickly, the pairing is a event that goes on at their school that looks at what students are kind of compatible, but it involves a lot of magic where they are paired together. Excuse me. So they are paired in a group together, and they are so for the rest of the year, your pairing is is whom you want to take your final junior exam, your final exam with, in order to become a junior. So after so in May, around that time, May, the sophomores all with their pairing group will take a final exam to decide if they will move on to the next level. So your pairing is extremely important. You have to individually be strong, but come together strong as well. And it is very, very interesting. You all will find that the pairing can be so powerful that it was what started the oracles, what is called the oracles. They were originally a pairing group, a pairing. Yeah. So they are the not gods, but they are the supreme rulers, I'll say. So everything supernatural goes through them. So everything. So they are the makers, the law. Don't piss them off. So it is the oracles on top, and then you have the high order, and then you have the order light. So those are the law enforcements, the three different levels of supernatural law. And so you just see the importance and potential of the pairing. And now, because I can't, now because I talked about the oracles more in the second novel, so they'll give stuff away from the second novel. Okay. So moving along, it's so hard when you talk about the first book and then the sequel's already out, and you're like, oh my gosh, am I risking ruining the second book? Forget even just ruining the first book. Am I about to ruin the second book for people? So much pressure. All right, let's move on. So the another second character, oh, and Arnold, you'll see he loves sweets, and he also is able to look into the future. He rides a motorcycle, so he is a very interesting character. Don't let him fool you. And then we have Marcus Hamilton. Okay, so he is a very big second character because he ends up becoming even bigger in the second novel. So Marcus Hamilton is one of Alex's friends. So he has his own friend group. He's older than them. He's a senior, but he is very important because his parents are very important. He is from a very powerful and, I guess ancient as well. See, these characters are all this powerful. I promise I didn't make every single person powerful. But his family, his two parents are powerful. And the parents are plotting something that affects the other main families in the area. And one thing big in particular, you know, the I'm not gonna say, because that's late, kind of late in the book, so I don't want to say. But I'll just say they are plotting something mainly for the purpose of getting more power and taking a very lucrative territory position. So I'll say that. So his people are trying to manipulate him and trying to get him to do their bidding, while also Alex's mom, because she also is power hungry, is against his family. These parents are over here going at each other, and it's like the kids are like, can we just be friends? Like, they're friends. They like, can y'all just keep us out of this? Like, y'all fight yourselves, just keep us out of it. Like it's just crazy. So Alex and Hamilton are friends. They're good friends. They're almost best friends. But then their parents come along and are trying to just tear them apart, just trying to be nosy and plot against each other. So it really, his character really becomes very, very important because of the plotting that's going on. And then his character also becomes important if you read the second novel. You'll remember a very particular point in the first novel that involved Hamilton. And it's a reason why a certain thing is able to happen in the second book, which ends up risking the whole entire world. So it's like, what the fuck? What? And y'all who read both books know what I'm talking about. A very, very shocking thing about Hamilton and someone else and what happened. Okay, so we have also Sheila, who's awesome, and she is part of a powerful coven. The Bennett coven, and I'm sorry. The name of another character was Bennett. No, it's the Salem coven. So her coven is considered kind of dark as well, but it's not who she is. Like, she is definitely really cool. She ends up befriending Nat, and thankfully things work out where she is also part of the pairing. And then she's very loyal and pretty badass. She definitely won't back down from a fight. Can't say too much more about her. Again, I'm going to try to just go briefly about the side characters because I don't want to go too in depth and, take away your reading experience and getting to know them yourself. And then we have Julian. Julian is a succubus. He comes on later on during the pairing chapter. He is part of the pairing of Alex, Eleanor, Olivia. So everybody has 4. He's succubus. The comic relief. He's definitely a funny guy. And then we have Leslie, who is really cool. She's a phoenix, and we are introduced to her during the pairing as well. She's paired with Sheila, Natalie, and Arnold. Keep going. Olivia. I love Olivia. She's a vampire, and she is best friends with Alex. So you see throughout the novel that Olivia was, her family, her parents are friends with Brenda Willis, with Alex's mom. So they are partners in crime, literally crime. So they decided that their two children, their daughters, should well, maybe I'm being too strong with the word partners, because Olivia is more so Alex, right hand man, henchman, um, lackey. So I wouldn't really say I wouldn't really focus on the word partners with the parents, but the parents are in business together. But Brenda is really, the top dog. And Olivia went to Virtuous Academy, befriended Alex because of the arrangement with the parents. So she's really in Alex's service, so to say. And then we have Eleanor, who's nicknamed Ella in the novel. She is a werewolf who comes from a horrible pack. Her alpha is disgusting. You learn even more about him in the second novel, so I'm not going to talk about his asshole self. But Ella was bought by Brenda and put into Alex's service. So again, you have this dynamic of right and wrong, and even her friends are her friends, because the more you be with somebody and you depending on them, eventually you get to know them. But it caused a lot of issues with the original setup of how they became friends. It ends up becoming an issue. But Ella feels loyalty because she is now safe. She's free from her pack alpha. And just because she is now in service of Alex, Alex isn't as bad as Alpha. So Alex can be a pain. She's pretty much the boss. So there's that. But they're friends. It's not that type of very strict dynamic. So Ella's a werewolf. She is a lesbian. You find out early on when she's introduced that she's kind of feeling Natalie, and we'll see where that goes when you read the book. Then we have a honorable mention in Simon, because Simon's Alex's friend. He comes around for parties and games, and he ends up dating Leslie, which you'll find out more about that in the book. And then we talked about Brenda. She's head of her family coven. She is a lawyer by day. She has enterprises, but behind closed doors, she's running a drug empire, weapons. She's ruling many states. And then we have Samantha King, who is Natalie's mom, and she's the mayor of Rhode Island, and she is just she's just awesome. I mean, when you first couple of pages, you get to see how awesome Samantha is, and she is just holding together, trying to make things right for her daughter, trying to hold everything together. She lost her husband, her best friend, and she has to maintain the supernatural order in Rhode Island. So that's where the book takes place. But she's the mayor for the humans, but she's also the supernatural liaison to the human governor, and also to the president of the United States. So that world dynamic we'll discuss a little bit later. because I'm still looking at the time. I had to do a part 2. And then excuse me, last secondary character we have is Garrett Marshall, teacher. So he's a new teacher. He's young. You know, all the girls are swooning, like, oh, he's so cute. He's young, blah, blah, blah. But we find out a lot about him throughout the book. He knew Natalie's father, and he is using, well, he gets close, because I don't want to spoil nothing. Some of you already know because the book's been out, and I talk about this issue that comes up in a few videos. I discussed it just recently, and doing the video of bad reviews. And yeah, so he knew her father, and he is now teaching at her school. And he's not who he seems to be. Okay. Because if I tell y'all, it's too major. Okay. Let's see, it's almost 50 minutes long video. All right, I'm going to do a part 2 because I want to get to the main tropes. I want to talk about the magical world and get to all that goodness. So I'm going to see you all in the next video in a few seconds, just so I can make sure this doesn't cut off on me. I don't have that much space in my phone. So I'm going to see you all in just a second.